The Trump administration is disappearing men they know are innocent to an El Salvadoran prison. I really need y'all to like and comment and share and help get this video out to the algorithm, because I'm sure TikTok is going to try and suppress it. But this is like a red alert and everybody needs to understand what is happening. I've been sounding the alarm since February 5th when Marco Rubio said that he would have no problem sending American citizens to an El Salvadoran prison known for its extreme brutality and human rights violations. That he would have no problem taking our taxpayer dollars to disappear American citizens out of America into the El Salvadoran prison system. I said it back then, they were going to make that El Salvadoran prison the Auschwitz of America. And the more we learn about what this regime is doing, the way they are sending people there, what is happening, all of the illegal actions around that prison, the more I firmly believe it. So we know that there were these plane flights of Venezuelan men that were sent to this prison in El Salvador from the United States. They were not deported. They were not sent back to Venezuela. They were taken from the US and basically trafficked into an El Salvadoran prison. We are paying El Salvador to incarcerate these men. Marco Rubio and the Trump regime were claiming that these were violent Venezuelan gang members and they had a right to take these men, even though due process applies to everybody, even Venezuelan gang members in the United States. Due process applies to everybody accused of a crime. So these men had their rights to due process violated. They were shipped out overnight in violation of a judge's order. And the more we are finding out from court documents about these cases, the more we're finding out that these men were not gang members at all. Basically, ICE looked at somebody in this country who was originally from Venezuela, and if they had a tattoo, they're like, oh, we're going to say that that's a gang symbol, and we're going to use that as justification to ship you out of this country, to snatch you away from your family, and to ship you out of this country. A couple of days ago, Mother Jones reported on how a young bakery worker in Dallas, Texas, named Neri Alvarado, was snatched by ICE and sent to that infamous El Salvadoran prison. ICE is using his tattoo as a justification and proof that he's a gang member, except his family has showed images of the tattoo. It is an autism awareness ribbon because his brother has autism. The Guardian is reporting that makeup artist Andre Jose Hernandez Romero, who came to the U.S. seeking asylum because he was being persecuted in his home country for being gay, was deported to that El Salvadoran prison, even though he has no connection to gang activity. And once again, ICE is using his tattoos as justification. And The Hill is now reporting that yesterday, the Trump regime admits they wrongly sent Kilmar Abrego Garcia from Maryland to the prison in El Salvador. And they know he's completely innocent. He has done nothing wrong. He's committed no crimes. He's not involved in any gang activity. To make matters worse, ICE was aware that there was a court-ordered protection from removal to El Salvador for Abrego Garcia, and they removed him anyway. They are claiming it was administrative error. And even more terrifying is they are now saying, we can't get him back from El Salvador's Terrorism Confinement Center. That's what it's called, also known as CCOT. They're saying we no longer have custody of him. El Salvador does. So, that makes it really hard for us to get him back. He's not in our custody. The Justice Department, we don't have any jurisdiction in El Salvador. Keep in mind, these men are all there because they were snatched out of their homes by ICE, packed onto planes that the Trump regime had rented from a private security firm, and flown to El Salvador, where they are being incarcerated, not because El Salvador is doing Trump a favor, but because we are paying them millions and millions of American taxpayer dollars to incarcerate innocent men that this regime, the Department of Justice, cannot find any credible evidence of them having committed crimes or being gang members. They are just men who have tattoos. And even for the men that they're like, oopsie, we didn't mean to, this was an administrative error. What is this about government efficiency? You are taking our tax dollars and to the tune of millions of dollars, you are abducting innocent men, shipping them on planes and paying another government to hold them illegally. What is that about government efficiency? And now you're saying that's all in error, but we're going to continue to pay El Salvador to keep innocent men in the terrorism confinement center. Abrego Garcia was here because he sought asylum and safety in the US. And in 2019, an immigration judge granted him a protective order saying he could not be removed back to El Salvador. He had committed no crimes. He'd done nothing wrong. This regime knows he did nothing wrong. He was snatched away from his home and not only sent back to El Salvador, where a judge said it was dangerous for him to be there, but he has been put in a prison known for its brutality and human rights violations. And the Trump regime is like, we don't have jurisdiction down there. We can't get him back. I want to tell you a little bit more about this prison. I'm going to quote from The Hill here. I can't show you the images or it will get taken down off of TikTok. Each of the 256 cells is intended to hold approximately 80 inmates, but holds double. The cramped cells are equipped with tiered metal bunks without mattresses, 2 basins for washing, 2 open toilets. There are no windows, fans, or air conditioning, despite the region's warm and humid climate. When you hear cramped cells with tiered metal bunks without mattresses, what does that remind you of? Again, I can't show the images on TikTok. Inmates at the El Salvadoran prison called CICAT are confined to their cells for 23 and a half hours a day and cannot go outdoors. They are denied access to reading materials, even including letters from friends and family. Inmates are prohibited from receiving visits from friends and family. Meals are provided through the bars, and the facility enforces strict regulations to maintain order, aka they're brutal. That's a quote from Abrego Garcia's attorney, by the way. I want you to understand they know these men are innocent. I want you to understand that if you don't care about refugees from Central and South America and you're like, too bad, they're immigrants, whatever. If you are somebody who does not find it a compelling argument that everybody in the US has the constitutional right to due process, whether or not they are a citizen, if you don't understand the dangers of saying that some people here get due process and some don't, and Kristi Noem and Marco Rubio get to decide who does and doesn't receive constitutional rights, if that is not compelling for you, please understand that they intend to, and Marco Rubio has expressly said since February 5th, that they intend to put American citizens, to disappear American citizens to that prison in El Salvador. And this piece today in The Hill, where the Trump government is saying, we know we sent an innocent man. Oopsie, it was a mistake. We can never get him back. There's nothing we could do. We don't have jurisdiction now that he has been sent to El Salvador. Please understand, they are doing all of that on purpose so they can say the same thing when they send American citizens down there. If they sent an innocent man who was here on asylum, knowing he was innocent, and then they refused to get him back, they will do the same thing to you. They are intending to do the same thing to you. Anybody who they deem a political dissident or does something that this regime doesn't like. I mean, Elon Musk is already threatening it for people who protest Tesla dealerships or commit vandalism. Could you imagine a charge of vandalism coming with a 10 or 20 or 30-year sentence in an El Salvadoran prison where you are stacked in like it's Auschwitz and you are kept in your cell for 23 hours a day with no access to seeing your loved ones, not allowed to even read letters from them for decades? Please understand that is what this regime intends to do. And they sure as fuck are using the threat of it to get people to comply in advance, to get people to be afraid to exercise their constitutional rights. If they will ship men they know are innocent to an El Salvadoran prison and lose them there, they will ship Americans who are innocent to an El Salvadoran prison and lose them there. I have been scared shitless about this story since I read what Marco Rubio said on February 5th. And everything I find out makes it worse and worse and worse. Please don't let this paralyze you. Please don't let this scare you into obeying in advance. Please don't let this make you afraid to exercise your constitutional rights. Let this galvanize you. Let this be the thing that prompts you to be courageous. Because if we don't stand up to this shit now, they will see how much further they can push it. They will see who else they can intimidate, who else they can ship off to El Salvador, who else's rights they can violate freely, who else's lives they can destroy. Please understand this is the first they came for poem. Do not wait until they are coming for you, because by then it will be too late. We need to act right now. This is a red alert. Please remember the power lies with the people, and we must reclaim our power from these tyrants immediately.